So, Tori,
Hi.
thank you for your time today.
That's not a problem at all. Thank you.
So I just want to go through a few things as a SmartMix customer about yourself, your business, and how SmartMix has helped you. So why don't we start with the story about you and your career? How did it all kick off? How did you end up with your own salon?
So, to be honest, it was a bit of a whim starting off with my salon. I had no real plans to open my salon.
Right.
So when I was about 21, my mum got diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Okay.
And I was offered the space around the same time, and I sort of thought, well, I might as well give it a go. Let mum see me start something.
Wow.
And had the, at 21, I was a bit like, if it all goes pear-shaped, like it's fine. Like I lived at home with mum and dad, like I didn't have any rent or anything. So
low risk.
Yeah, exactly. Considering I sort of went in with no real business mind or even like aspiration to be a business owner.
Yeah.
I've been there 7 years now. So
well done.
I've done something that's worked.
Yeah, so, you have, and you must have made your mum proud.
Yeah. So she managed to see sort of the first couple of months. She helped me sort of decorate it to begin with and things like that. So
which I can say I've seen it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she sort of came, like I did a tiny open day. It was basically just family that came. But yeah, so that was quite nice, just sort of for her to sort of see the start of it, really. Yeah.
Well done you. It's a big leap, isn't it? But I think these sorts of events come along in life and realise we only get one, don't we?
Exactly, that's it. Yeah. So, and actually, what, in that situation, the worst thing is it's going to fail. That's not a big deal, is it?
No. I read something recently that was really profound, and it said there's no such thing as losers that fail, it's losers that quit.
Yeah, which is very accurate, isn't it?
Yeah, so true. Amazing. So you've been doing it for 7 years. I can empathize with that, actually, because I have to say, as a hairdresser, I didn't have the same aspiration to have my own salon and things like that either. But you strike me as a very astute businesswoman. You're very good with your numbers and you're aware of your ins and outs and things like that. So you obviously learnt that along the way.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, we're really lucky in our industry because there's so many support systems out there, be it sort of salon coaches or forums or things like Green Salon Collective, where you sort of pick up ideas from other people. It's definitely learning on the go, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's not wanting to be just another hair salon in town. It's wanting to be, the most profitable, but without your clients thinking that you are money grabbing and things like that. So
I think that you become the most profitable with the right, business separates the good from the bad in a way, really, and you're only the most profitable if you're the best, especially with something as personal as hairdressing.
Exactly.
So it speaks for itself. And how has business been?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been pretty constant through sort of like between the lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
I did in the last lockdown. I think it was the last lockdown. I dropped a day to be able to do a day's admin. So I've managed to sort of, potentially I could be busier, but I don't want to ram my days full and things like that. So I mean, I'm working on busying up sort of the salon without me having to be the main sort of financial part of it, if that makes sense.
It does. You want to make the money work for you, not physically work for the money. Because I do say sometimes it's a young man's game, isn't it, or woman's?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank God for Dyson hairdryers, because my back has been saved.
Yeah. And I just think, like, my wrists, I've not, touch wood, I've not had any wrist pain for absolutely ages since I've had my dryer.
Yeah, so all those little things count, don't they? For sure. So what size is your salon at this point in time then?
So at the moment, I'm the only full-time member of staff, and then I've got a part-time member of staff. So yeah, just the two of us. She's sort of newly qualified, so she's not doing masses of colours yet. She's still sort of getting used to that and things. So yeah.
Excellent. And what's
cool.
the plan? What's the aspiration for the future?
I'd quite like to take on a new apprentice every year. So sort of build my own small team of, so yeah, because they say if you train them yourself, there tends to be more loyalty there.
Definitely. And your clients take them better.
Yeah, exactly. And I am a little bit of a control freak, so I do want them to do it my way.
Nothing wrong with that in business. I think that's fair enough. So coming up to the topic of conversation then with regards to the colour, I know that you use Keyun colour and you didn't before. How long have you been using that colour brand?
So I've probably been using their colour since just after the first lockdown, actually. So that would be what, July time last year? So yeah, about 18 months-ish.
Brilliant. And you liking it?
Oh, love it. Literally, it's, not only is it one of the best colours that I've used, and like the high lifts are literally out of the world.
Yeah.
But they've got like 9 pillars of care, which is how they're sort of trying to, minimize the negative impact they have on the world, which is really nice, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, they really fit my sort of ethos for the salon.
Yeah, and to be honest, SmartMix as well, to be fair, because sustainability is the key going forward. And I do think that the pandemic is going to feel like a little walk in the park with regards to what potentially we've got to look up ahead. Because I think the great thing about hairdressing is everybody will always need a haircut.
Yeah.
But when you're not allowed to cut someone's hair, that's one thing. But then when you have to do it in an economical way and, a sustainable way with a lesser carbon footprint, it's even harder. So you're doing a great job with recycling for a start, and then using a color brand like that. But as a one-man band, what was it, as a single stylist mostly, what was it that alerted you to wanting to use the software of SmartMix for your salon?
So I'd been using Green Salon Collective and putting my excess colour waste sort of to one side for them to sort of dispose of for me. And every time I was emptying the bowl out into that bucket, it just looked more and more and more. And it got to a point where I weighed the bucket.
Yeah.
And I nearly had a flipping heart attack. I think it worked out to about £1,000 worth of product that was, in that bucket, which I just thought, actually, would I rather have £1,000 towards education or, new pair of scissors, or £1,000 literally, it's not going into landfill, but it's not being used as productively as it, that £1,000 could be.
Yeah, as my consultant Mary has said, quite rightly so, it's never had a purpose.
Yeah.
Once it's left that tube, you can't stick it back in the tube again. And that £1,000 worth of colour, you think, was built up over how many months or weeks?
For me, it was probably 4 months for
4
me.
months.
So yeah, and that was at the time it was just me doing colour.
Yeah.
And I would say, because I'm in charge of ordering and paying, I am conscious of how much I'm putting in the bowl, and I'm more likely to mix up less and go back a mix up. So it sort of scared me, thinking, God, if I alone, who's conscious of this, is wasting £1,000 worth of product, what are these massive salons doing? Yeah.
Well, I've seen it, and it is frightening. And the scarier thing was when I noticed it as a junior, but then developing down the line and having a salon and doing exactly as you said, being like yourself. I don't like chastising people, especially when I'm doing exactly what they're doing. If I can't, don't ask someone to do something you wouldn't do yourself. And if I can't do that myself, how can I expect others to? So, we'd resort to this bowl that you'd see the color waste in after a week and tell everybody off, and then next week we start again and the same happens. So having had the same problem, hence creating it, I wanted to eliminate that. So having something there to tell you how much you need in the first place, that leaves you to do the creative part, the bit you're good at. I've compared it more recently actually with sort of, imagine telling Monet or Picasso to mix up their paint on a scale.
Yeah,
they would want to do that, but
no.
if paint cost what color costs, then it changes, doesn't it? But I just think that's why the technology has taken so long to get into our industry, and why there's not this huge uptake. But now that you've had it for a couple of months now, how has it been for you?
My colour waste is non-existent. The only time that there is colour waste is when I do a shoddy consultation and input the amounts wrong, if that makes sense, you know. Yeah, so I don't actually look at I don't look at their regrowth, and actually I put in a longer regrowth than they've actually got, and things like that. So but I haven't weighed what I've, you know, thrown away, but I can probably fit it sort of, it's probably not even that much, you know. Wow. Which, so and
that's for the record, I didn't know the answer to that question before I asked you that. Amazing.
So, and it's probably like the same amount of time, you know, the 4 months that I've, you know, so it's like next to nothing really.
That's fantastic. So it's doing its job.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. And have you noticed anything else about using it? I mean, are your clients, because your salon scale is inside the salon, isn't it? Have they noticed it? Have they asked anything?
Oh, they're straight on it. As soon as I walk over, they're like, oh, is that new?
Really?
And they're literally, they're so on it with noticing it, and they are blown away with it. It's an amazing conversation piece.
Yeah.
And then once you sort of talk about how, you know, it's to help minimize, you know, I tend to do it more of an eco thing rather than saving me money. But when you sort of say, you know, I don't like the idea of throwing colour away or putting it down the drain, and this just helps me to minimize that, they're all sort of like, oh wow, like that's amazing, you know. And it's just those little tiny things that make the big difference, isn't it? And
absolutely, Tesco said it best.
I've yet to have a client who hasn't mentioned it as I've started mixing their colour. So
really, they all notice it. That's ace. Oh, good, because mine's hidden out the back, you see. I should have it on display, but our colour room is out the way. But I do sometimes take the tablet physically to my client to talk through. And just like you said before, I mean, we are only human. And I think sometimes it's easier when you're managed by someone than when you're the owner and the buck stops with you. You know, it's still, it helps, and it's reduced it right down, you know, let's say 95%. But for the 5%, I think you need that person on your shoulder that's looking over saying, have you done that right? But for the stylist, they're using it better than I am. And I think it's a great consultation tool. Like you said, you just go into more detail, and especially for that client that will say, it wasn't the same last time.
Yeah, and that's it. And it can be, you know, it's so hard because you sort of, I never wrote down my formulas ever. And when a client would come in and they'd be like, oh, I loved what you did last time, I'd literally
panic. Red flag.
And I'd be like, oh, you know, it's a different season, so let's just have another consultation. And would literally be like
coming out.
Yeah, whereas now, like, it's so easy because it's all there, you know.
Definitely.
And I mean, I don't like to mix exactly the same every time, but it's nice to be able to look back on what you did and think, okay, we can titivate it that way, or, you know, to have some idea of your starting blocks is quite nice again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been useful as well, because we've got a stylist coming back off maternity leave, and the panic for the client for the transition from the first place when she went on maternity to, is it going to be okay? Am I going to be all right? And then to go back again, the client's completely relaxed because they know the formula, you know, cut and blow dry will be different, guaranteed, but at least they can guarantee their colors the same. So it's useful to come back, I think, from a period of time away to a fully stocked, because I used to update my notes from time to time, I'll be honest. And because you do this regular thing, it's remembering to update them.
Yes.
You know, did they have the same? Because the last time I did it was 6 months ago with the note, and obviously they've been in every 6 weeks. So yeah, I think we're all guilty of it. So SmartMix overall then has been a useful tool, and it's pretty much eliminated your waste.
Oh, massively. Yeah. I mean, I will admit, like initially when I looked into it, I was a bit like, do I want to spend that much a month? Yeah. Am I going to be able to afford to? And sort of buying the actual like hardware, I sort of ummed and ahed for ages.
Yeah.
But now that it's in everyday life, it's well worth the money that I've spent. So
good. You know. And has it saved you on your colour spend? Biggest question.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, I haven't actually done any numbers recently about it. Yeah. Looking at how much I'm wasting, yes. Mm-hmm. But I've always been one of those people who looks at my colour cupboard and goes, oh no, I don't have that colour.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm far more on top of it, you know, it's much easier. And it's nice for the fact that, you know, Tuesdays is an admin day and I'll do my order on a Tuesday, but I can be at home and log into the SmartMix and see what I need. You know, I don't have to go to the salon and things like that. So yeah, much easier.
Excellent. So it's definitely helping you in a way of managing your salon as well then. So the colour ordering is easier.
Yeah. Taking an extra stress out of, you know, the day, the week, you know, it's definitely making my life easier.
Brilliant. And just a quick question on the note of
we're saving the world because we're not using colour.
And as just a quick side note from that, your stylist that you said that's, you know, newly qualified, is she finding it useful in the way of understanding colour, and certainly your new colour?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, she's finding it a lot more understandable, and like I think because she did her advanced NVQ during a pandemic, like that really threw a spanner in the works. So it's sort of like helping her with things like the, you know, high lifts and, you know, permanence and things like that, and yeah, she's definitely understanding like formulas and things a lot better, which is amazing. And she's because she's gone straight into it, it's normal for her. She's had less of a transition period with weighing it on the SmartMix scales, which is nice.
Because I doubt she trained with key and colour, did she? What did she train with?
No, I think at college they use Schwarzkopf. So quite different.
Yeah, so that's useful as well. Excellent. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time and your interview today.
Not a problem at all. Thank you for yours.
You're welcome. I will end the recording now. But I'm going to stay on the call with you because I want to tell you about what we've got in the pipeline for SmartMix.
Oh, sounds exciting.